Americans, I think I can speak for the whole international community when I say there's no one on this planet left unaffected by the results of your presidential election. The spectacle we've all been watching unfold in your country from the sidelines has left us in confusion, horror, and dread. Why might you think the rest of the world cares so much about the result of your presidential election? Well, the simple truth is that your country remains the dominant one in terms of just about everything that matters to our international well-being. From resource consumption levels to the environment and global climate, as well as most political and economic relations. The rest of the world depends on you in far too many ways. Whoever is running the show for you will also more or less be running it for the rest of us too. So it's important you listen up. First of all, I want to clarify exactly who I'm talking to here, and that is the 73% of your population that did not vote for Trump, which is how many of you did not want this to happen. Because when you have a voter turnout of 58% and only 47% of that voted for Trump, that leaves 73% of Americans who did not vote in your president-elect. And that doesn't surprise me in the least, because that is not the America I know. The America I know is a country of choice, diversity, opportunity, and extremely intelligent people, a lot of whom fell victim to a very corrupt system that gives you an illusion of choice. Well, I'm here today to give you and the rest of the world some hope. Once you're able to work through the anger and disappointment with your current dysfunctional electoral system, here's what you all need to do to prevent this from happening again. So how exactly is it that the president-elect of the United States actively received only 27% of the vote from the general population? To answer that, we need to look at how votes in your country are actually distributed. This is done through a body called the Electoral College. So when you cast that ballot with a candidate's name on it, it doesn't go directly to the candidate. It goes to the Electoral College. Here's how it works, and you could easily find this information yourself. There are a total of 538 so-called electors voting for the president of your country. Not you directly. They just do it based on what you supposedly want them to do by gathering your votes collectively. But guess what? They still have the autonomous power to cast votes as they see fit legally. That's right, whether or not you agree. What's more is that the electors represent a collective pool of voters, so to speak. So if one state votes 60% one candidate and 40% another, the electors can and often will just declare that entire state as 100% having voted for one party, even if it was a tight divide. In addition, some smaller states actually have more weight added to their vote because of low population. So a vote in a state like California actually holds less power than one in Wyoming. Does this make sense to you? Does this sound like democracy? Because that's not democracy at all. I understand you weren't crazy about the alternative, and that's why the voter turnout was so low in the first place. The opponent's total percentage was virtually the same. But we're not going to talk about Hillary now. What I want to talk about is an entire system change in your country, because the current system doesn't work. To prevent such fiascos from happening in the future, here are some steps those 73% of you who are not happy right now need to take. Push for either dismantling the Electoral College or reforming it in such a way that it fairly reflects your votes. You can't continue to allow a tiny party redistribute your votes as they see fit. That's not democracy. It's not very democratic to be stuck between choosing the lesser of two evils, is it? And what about those third-party candidates? Yeah, Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. I know many people wondered if they had wasted their vote on them, and you know what? Under your current system, they had. And you know why? Because neither of those third-party candidates had a single electoral college senator representing them. So over 1 million votes that each one of them had received might as well have never been cast, because those votes did not go through the electoral college to make them count. Again, this is not democracy, because you've got candidates running who are not even being counted. protest this until you can protest no more. The good news is that Trump isn't officially president yet. And even though you have already voted, the Electoral College doesn't actually cast their final votes until December 19th this year. That's right. This is your window of opportunity, and their votes are subject to change. Remember, they're not actually obligated to vote one way or another, which is what makes this organization so dubious in the first place. But you can influence them. If enough of you get together, make a stance that you are not okay with this result, someone will have to listen. Come on, America, you don't have to take this, and neither does the rest of the world. You deserve better. You have already made so much progress on the global scale. Don't let it go to waste. Our hope for a positive global future rests within you now. It's not too late to change it. So rise up, America. This is not your president yet.